ओके, सो पहले तो हम थोड़ी देर बात करेंगे. आई नो रिकॉर्डिंग इन प्रोग्रेस, बट आई एम putting the recording on pause for now. Let everybody join. Let's give them a couple of minutes. Time change हुआ है. Let's have allowance for them. All right. We are starting. We have 1 minute to go. I want to take a minute to test my equipment. Are all of you able to see this? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No. Maybe. Okay. Got it. ठीक है. Yes आ गया है. अब इसको प्रेजेंटेशन मोड में डाल के भी देख लेता हूँ. हाँ. ठीक है. So, if you remember, I'm gonna stop share now. So, if you remember last time, what did we cover? Can somebody tell me the topic we covered last time? अरे इतना सन्नाटा. अरे बता दो यार, कौन सा टॉपिक कर
Digital
रहे थे?
digital learning platforms, अलग-अलग
हाँ.
digital learning platforms, the genesis of that, the benefits, how it started, the evolution of that. I
So we
think
were reaching the most interesting part. Thank you. We were reaching the most important part of learning management systems, जो कि सबसे ज्यादा हमारे point of view से as learner सबसे ज्यादा practical aspect को cater करता है. So we are talking about learning management systems. It's one of the most crucial segments. Why? Because it basically brings together all the things that you have learned in e-learning all this time together. So I'm going to take a minute to give you let you guys recollect all that you remember while I make a minor change to my slide. And if you want, please take a minute to also pull out any questions, if any of you have any questions to ask, because as I promised earlier also, the first 15 minutes of the class we were dedicating to any kind of questions that we have. अच्छा, अपना बैच नंबर बताओ guys. Let's hear if any of you know your batch number. What's your batch number? टेस्ट पे टेस्ट हो रहा है आज. बताओ बैच नंबर अपना
Right.
गाइस.
नाइन
हैं?
नाइन
Right.
नाइन
Okay. चलो ये तो सही बताया मेरे को. शाबाश. Okay. Let's go back to showing you the agenda. Let's go and share screen. Share, share, and share. Here you go. Okay. अब बात करेंगे हमने कौन से टॉपिक्स कवर किए थे. This should jog your memory. So what did we cover already? We covered the key terms and concepts of digital learning. We also covered the digital learning platforms, what they are, what are the prerequisites for any platform to be called a digital learning platform. Then we also talked about the evolution of learning platforms from older years to the current age and date that we are at. Then the benefits of digital learning platforms, which is quite obvious actually, but still we touched upon them. And then the types of digital learning platforms in which we spoke about adaptive, non-adaptive, content, self-created, or the system-provided content. I had given you guys one homework. Has anybody done the homework? What is the difference between native and non-native HTML? Batao. Abhi aadhe hands up. How many people are Googling right now? बताओ भाई. इतना टाइम नहीं लगता गूगल में भी. इतना टाइम नहीं लगता.
Google is running slow today.
Ah, see, Nandan, thank you for being vulnerable and honest. We had spoken about native and non-native HTML when we were talking about standards. I want you guys to know, it's not syllabus or anything. I want you guys to know the difference between the two. So please Google and read and tell me also, educate me also. What is the difference between native HTML and non-native HTML? आगे नहीं बढ़ाऊंगी क्लास जब तक बताओगे नहीं. या फिर मैं ही ढूंढ के बताऊं. कोई जवाब नहीं दे रहा आज. Revolution, pin drop silence. Okay, जब तक ढूंढ रहे हो, let's look at the topics that we were going to cover today. What are we going to cover today? We're going to cover features of digital learning platforms, key parameters around decisions on the right digital platform. This is where your job, your expertise, your professionalism will kick in. Then software and services related to digital learning platforms, and then learning management systems. You're going to learn the types, and you're also going to learn some amount of Moodle. I will not parrot out Moodle. There's enough in your textbook about it, but we'll briefly discuss what Moodle is, etc., etc. We will devote maximum amount of time in looking at the key parameters and key features of digital learning platforms. ये critical है आप लोगों के लिए because this is where the practical, the rubber hits the road, as we say. So now let's look into features of digital learning platforms. So take a minute to look at the graphic on the right hand side. I'm not going to give you and spell out the context on the left hand side because when I will click my next button, it will start showing up things that are there on the right hand side and maybe some explanations. We don't know what we will see. But right now, looking at this image, what is it that you get? Take a minute, look at the things that are being shown on the right hand side in the form of a graphic. Minute is also too much. Maybe I'll give you guys 10-20 seconds. It's not too much material to read.
These are basically ways of, or you can say types from
Mhm.
where a person can learn digitally.
Mhm.
Methods we can say about
Yes.
all these are methods. And
Yes.
coming to the previous question that you had asked us between native and non-native HTML, if I'm not wrong, native is something which is, as you said, standards, but something that we can easily use across browsers. And it is there, it's very easily palatable and
Mhm.
accessible. And non-native is something which is basically more like on the mobile, like applications and stuff.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. अभी yes no नहीं बोलेंगे. Let's encourage other people to also look for it. कुछ तो काम on hands exercise class में भी होना चाहिए. So let's hope Nandan's Google starts working at the speed that he desires, and then he can also say what he wanted to say. But to address the rest of the section that we spoke about, what are we showing on the right hand side of the screen right now? We are talking about the features of digital learning platforms, which means that on the right hand side, we are basically showing if you leverage a digital learning platform, what are the features that are available for you? You get grade books to grade. That means they are no longer paper and pen activities. So yesterday, I will give you a live example. I was trying to collate some invoices of various people who are consultants with us. They send in their invoices and then we put them together to make sure they get ready for the next payroll cycle. अब हर कोई अपना अपना format use करता है, which is very irritating. We send them the link where they can upload their invoice or they can fill in. अपलोड भी कर सकते हो वहां पे फिल इन भी कर सकते हो फॉर्म की तरह गूगल फॉर्म की तरह मगर नहीं लोग अपना फॉर्मेट अपलोड करते हैं अब आपका फॉर्मेट आएगा पीडीएफ में आएगा मेरा एक्सेल एक सर्टेन तरीके से बना हुआ है समटाइम्स इट इज नॉट कंपैटिबल इट डजंट डिटेक्ट द इंफॉर्मेशन द वे आई वुड लाइक इट टू बी पॉपुलेटेड so what happens is I end up looking at some those invoices which are non-compatible. I have to manually look at the numbers and I have to put it in my Excel sheet. This is one of the most boring activities of my month. But because it's salary, because you cannot share it with anybody, you cannot delegate it to anybody, you have to do it yourself. Even if somebody, my senior person is on leave right now, even if he is there, वो भेजने के बाद फिर भी मुझे एक बार मैनुअली चेक करना पड़ता है एज अ मेकर चेकर वी डू दैट स्पेशली फॉर द सैलरी फाइल तो सबसे घटिया एक्टिविटी होता है उसको देख देख के नोट करना गेस करो क्या गलतियां हो सकती हैं कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मिस्टेक्स कैन हैपन
Text format may be used rather than the number.
and the sum is incorrect. At
Yep.
the bottom, the sum gets miscalculated. What else? Thank you.
Data mismatch.
Data mismatch. 1 2 3 6 1 3 था मैंने 1 2 3 1 6 लिख दिया right क्योंकि एक
Sequencing,
जगह से दूसरे sequencing yes what else
formatting,
formatting yes
uh,
Bank details.
Bank
You
details.
put in bank details. IFSC
Sometimes they
code
use
पता
even
चल सकता है.
different terminology itself, which creates
Yes.
too much confusion.
PAN numbers. Again, PAN numbers are a bunch of numbers and alphabets. मैं ये देख के कर रही हूँ. So my other option is to take massive numbers of printouts. भी मैनुअल एरर का चांस है. तुमने ए की जगह बी लिख दिया, बी की जगह ई लिख दिया, ई आगे आ गया, बी पीछे चल गया, तुम ऐसे ऐसे तो टाइप कर रहे हो, कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकता है. So
Hmm.
when do you remember there used to be examinations when we were used to be in school etc. अचानक से ऐसा एक आता, इतने कम, मेरे तो इतने कम नंबर हो ही नहीं सकते. तो आप रीचेक में डालते थे, रीचेक में भी वही गलत नंबर आते थे, कभी कभी रीचेक में सही नंबर आ जाते थे. The reason why most of these examinations are now being converted into automatic is to eliminate manual errors by investigators, people who are evaluating, evaluators, or even in case of students कि नहीं मैंने तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 का आंसर यहाँ लिखा था मगर मैंने 7 की जगह गलती से 6 कर दिया. Most of the answer sheets are also now being automated. So you don't have to fill in those details. You just have to fill in the detail of the answer and nothing else. उसमें तुमने अगर बेवकूफी करी तब तो तुम्हें कोई नंबर नहीं मिलेंगे, कोई जस्टिफिकेशन काम नहीं करेगा. So the reason why I stressed on this was first to wake you guys up so that there's some engagement, and second is to also stress the importance of why are we doing this subject eventually? Are we doing it only for corporates or are we doing it for people who also impact the grassroots of our society? So there are students who learn, there are areas, many of us are professionals in rural areas, we work for government agencies. So it is important to understand what difference and what impact a wrong alphabet, a wrong number can bring to somebody's life and how much more work you can do once the administrative bit is taken care of. So this is the administrative bit. इसमें बहुत time waste होता है. अगर आप ये सॉफ्टवेयर इंप्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं, आपके पास टाइम ज्यादा बचेगा दूसरी चीजें करने के लिए. Some of the good news is some of these softwares are even free. Getting a government decision or getting an organizational decision to implement such tools can be difficult. But what you can do is doing basic level of automations. Like you can use Excel macros, you can use other kind of tools which are available online, free softwares that you can use on your laptop and you can move the data from one point to another. Just make sure that it's an application. You are not uploading data onto the internet because then that's integrity, breach of integrity. But of course, check the softwares to be virus free, etc. You get McAfee and all these tools which can check and tell you whether the software is safe to install. It leaves you away from the administrative task and you are able to make an impact at the grassroots level. So when you're working with mass volume and numbers, not just for corporates, being able to take care of these administrative activities can be a gift and will make sure a lot of time, effort, and money is saved if we are doing FTR. What is FTR? Who can tell me?
First time resolution.
First time right. First time resolution. Yes, both of them are correct. First time right. That is what most startups operate at. First time right. गलती होने का chance ही नहीं. And how do you ensure FTR? You ensure that you have, first of all, excellent RCA root cause analysis done when mistakes happen, and you continuously have makers, checkers, audit points to make sure that nothing goes wrong in your transformation journey. These softwares allow you a lot of leverage in terms of defining standards, defining what mistakes happen, and also corrective actions. आपके पास ईमेल आ जाएगी, रेड फ्लैग जो आ जाएगा, आपके डैशबोर्ड में दिख जाएगा, दिस मेनी एरर्स, दिस सीम्स टू बी सस्पिशियस, दिस एंट्री इज डुप्लीकेट, ये मैसेजेस आपके
Duplicacy,
पास.
correct. Yeah. Helps in
That
removing the
will be,
duplicacy part as well.
yes, it will take care of the duplicacy part, it will take care of the data entry part, it will take care of the formatting part, date of birth, typical problem. हर कोई अपने अपने तरीके से डेट ऑफ बर्थ डालता है, लोग डेट एंट्री करते हैं. यू वुड नोटिस फॉर्म्स, अब किसी भी फॉर्मेट पे क्यों ना डाल दो, वो ऑटो करेक्ट करके सही नंबर डाल देता है. Now, if your autocorrect formula is not defined correct, what happens? You use an American format, क्या हो जाता है? क्या हो जाता है? What is the
Month.
American
Format
format?
first will be month.
Yes. So in
MMDD.
India, first is death, right? Sorry, first is date, and then there is month, then there is year. So you're writing 9 October 1983. वो अगर अमेरिकन फॉर्मेट में आपने कर रखा है, वो 10th अगस्त हो जाएगा, वो 10th अगस्त हो जाएगा. They will take it like that. So make sure that you do check your softwares to make sure that you define what kind of date formats you require. Again, depends upon what is your home entity, what kind of employees do you have, and what format is prevalent in the company. In financial sheets, what is the prevalent currency? It may not be RU, it might be USD, it might be pounds, it might be euros. Based on that, all kinds of evaluations, etc., can happen in the systems. And remember, guys, I'm just not talking about digital learning platforms. I'm also talking about digital transformation overall, where you are also using customer management system with various CMS systems. All of them will give you similar kind of benefits. Analytics, dashboards, benefits of data entries, your audits, automatic journal entries. All of these benefits are available whenever you go to a digital platform. But bringing everything back into this conversation, we are primarily focusing on digital learning platforms, which means that you can define the rules as to what answer is right, what answer is wrong. You can use MCQs and you can have two responses, correct? You can have one. You can also define that this will only have one response. This can have more than one responses. This has to have a response and also a little bit of text. All of this can be defined. So grade books used to be the biggest excuse of teachers in schools that सबसे ज़्यादा time to answer sheet check करने में लगता है वही हमने खत्म कर दिया by putting in learning platforms. I always talk in detail about that because that used to be one of the biggest things that used to consume a lot of time. The other thing is फॉर्म्स अलग अलग भरवा के हार्ड कॉपी भरवा के उनको स्कैन करके उनको सिस्टम में घुसा के फिर उनका डेटा ट्रांसफर करना इट यूज्ड टू बी अ मैमथ एक्टिविटी सो वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट एडवांटेजेस ऑफ डिजिटल लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म इज ऑनलाइन रजिस्ट्रेशन सारा इंफॉर्मेशन वहीं पे देते okay then next learning so Jugal just tried to see how he can do some fun caricature on the screen. Thanks, Jugal. That was lovely. Give me 1 second, guys. Just give me 1 second. I need to switch on the fan. All right. So now what else do you get? On the left-hand side, there is this huge wall of text that is shown up. One of my favorite tools is looking at the learning analytics just to have a flavor of how my adoption rate has been, how my responsiveness of the people with whom I'm learning has been. And that can be a gift from a digital learning platform because all of these matrices are not always physically possible to track. And when I say physically, I mean manually able to. It is possible, but then it just takes too much time and effort. And most of the time, itna time or effort hota nahi hamare paas. So we are now talking about the learning analytics that are available. Let's look at few of them. Day-to-day trainee performance trend. So you can see the course performance and clearance percentage. Then it also tells you how many attempts somebody took. So that gives you an idea what is working well and what is not working well. So let us say कि एक certain course के certain portion में सबके बहुत कम number आ रहे हैं. That means there can be something related to the quality of the content or the clarity of the content. Quality and clarity, both. By the way, both of them are different. Quality of the content is how much examples you have given, etc., etc. And clarity is that बहुत सारा information देने के बाद भी कभी कभी कुछ चीजें समझ नहीं आती. So how and what can we do to change the explanation of the topic that it makes easy for people to understand and people are able to clear it at one go. Then it also provides the highest and the lowest utilization of resources. आपने दिया, मैंने additional materials दिए आप लोगों को. How many people clicked on it? How many read it? How many even attempted to reach the end of it? So it even can track the highly sophisticated learning management systems also track how many times people clicked, how much time they spent on what section of the course. So that gives you an idea that maybe this material looks to be exciting and enticing to give people, but eventually कोई पढ़ता नहीं है उसको. देखते हैं feel good है रख देते हैं कोई पढ़ता नहीं. It gives me an idea of the adoption, and then it can be used to elevate your performance from an executor to a strategist, which means that you can also decide कौन सी जगहों पे टाइम कम लगाने की जरूरत है, इसको ऑटोमेट कर दो. इसकी जरूरत नहीं है, लोग ऑटोमेटिक ये सारी चीजें जानते हैं, इसको ऑटोमेट कर दो, इसको हटा दो. इसको कोर्स में से हटा दो, ये वाले की मटेरियल पे ज्यादा टाइम करो, 3 घंटे का कोर्स दो 2.5 कर दो, आधा घंटा निकाल दो. All of these benefits can come from learning analytics. I don't know how many of you are exposed to it and currently have access to it, but if you have a learning management system, there are options to switch these features on, or there are options to upgrade your learning management system to include these features. जब many companies and corporates buy these features, they sometimes say कि इसकी जरूरत नहीं है, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. This is where you as a learning expert can add value, saying कि नहीं इसकी जरूरत है, and if it comes at a minimal cost, it's worth the investment. So, some of the different learning analytics reported are time spent on each topic, rapid exits from the topic, topics on which trainees ask maximum questions, repetitive questions, online training progress, and correlation with time spent with each session, online learning preferences and trends of trainees. It again goes back to your target population and how your time and effort is being used. These are the features of the digital learning platforms that makes it a complete must-have in today's world. Now, let's move forward. Here I'm going to talk about some more features. Built-in interaction opportunities. How many of you have interacted with your machine while learning nowadays? Most of you have, Udemy, etc., etc. They allow you discussion forums where you can interact with people, ask questions, exchange notes, even exchange assignments. मेरा करके दे दे, मैं तेरा टेप दूंगी. तेरा वाला अच्छा लग रहा है, 3 लोगों से कंबाइन कर लेंगे अपने नोट्स. सच बता दो यहाँ पे. No one is judging you. It's my effort to make sure that people talk.
Assignments में करते हैं कभी कभी.
कभी कभी, हाँ. Thanks for honesty.
One thing, just now, जो अपने subject का assignment है, so the questions are very straightforward. I mean, very clear and very concise. You can easily go for the answers, referring to the books that we have or referring to what you have explained us. So it is very direct. But in some cases, the questions are very lengthy or tricky. So कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा बहुत help किसी का मतलब लेना पड़ता है ऐसा.
नहीं, तो that's not wrong. One of the things that people make wrong is नहीं तुम्हें सब कुछ खुद करना है. The idea is at least engage तो करो ना content के साथ.
Right, right.
The idea for making grown-up people learn something new is to make, I'm not saying disrespect the examination or the assignment system. What is the end goal? The end goal is everybody should learn and become better professionals. And by engaging on discussion boards, at least opening your books and discussing, you get to learn new things. When you blindly copy paste, that's a problem. That I think is against the ethic, the moral of somebody who's trying to teach you and somebody who's trying to learn. तो करो ही मत.
Yes,
तो
definitely the
always
aim
the
will be, yeah, even we are also doing this, I mean, the course for learning only. I mean,
exactly.
enhancing, adding up our skills only. If we go for it at this level of age, I mean, at this level of professionalism, it is very wrong.
But unfortunately, people do so. So that is why these interaction opportunities can also be doctored. For example, there are certain chats which I have attended in Zoom in certain webinars. You type the question, there is a moderator. It can be an AI chatbot which says this is not an appropriate question. So if you write in a discussion forum, इस assignment का ये वाले question का क्या answer है, it will not let you post. So all of those benefits, putting yourself on the other side, not as a student, now think of it yourself as a trainer or learning expert, this can be a gift. So you are allowing conversations, but you're also moderating it in a certain way. These moderated chats are also available when you do in corporates. Very senior people who cannot come on camera, cannot come on town halls, they say, ask me anything. I don't know how many of you have heard of this. Most corporates nowadays have sessions, which is ask me anything. It's okay, anything on these lines. You get to talk to a CEO, you get to talk to a senior vice president, you get to talk to somebody who is a founding member of the company. And you can ask different kind of questions. There's always a moderator who moderates the questions and sends it forward. So sometimes that moderator is also an AI. They are given keywords. कि इसके बारे में कुछ भी होगा जाने ही मत देना आगे. Straight away send it to the human. The human then decides whether it needs to be sent forward, and then it goes forward. It reduces a lot of work of the human, which earlier had to, as a one person, had to moderate like 5,000 chats. Because if it's a large company-wide initiative, the person has to moderate that many chats. Then now let's look at training data management and administration, which I said that it takes a huge amount of time, effort, and also can drive you crazy in case the numbers are high. So what are the benefits? When you use a learning platform, you get centralized data, information is managed better. You get integrity, privacy, security in an open access environment. You get a security system that defines levels. So an admin will have all accesses. Supervisors will have certain accesses. Human resources will have certain accesses. Finance people will have certain accesses. IT people will have certain accesses. And then you have a lot of things which are self-services for the trainers and the trainees. So there's a lot of work which trainers have to do manually. Certificate nikalo, usko print karo, usko sign karo. Those are like typical jobs that the trainers have to do, which can be automated. Similarly, there are certain jobs that the trainees themselves can take care of themselves. For example, a trainer no longer has to send out a Google form or anything and asking for information. The trainers can simply go to the link and provide the information. So it's about profile, it's about performance tracking and scorecard. अब आप ट्रेनर को मेल लिख रहे हो मेरे पिछले सेमेस्टर के इस पे एग्जाम का ये वाले का क्या स्कोर था. Now I am giving you a portal where you can go, click on your name and all your performances track. आप कितनी बार एग्जाम में नहीं अपेयर हो पाए, कितनी बार आपका नॉट अप्रोप्रिएट स्कोर आया जिसकी वजह से आपको कोर्स को रीडू करना पड़ा, एवरीथिंग यू कैन सी ऑनलाइन. Learning resources, you get your curriculum, you get your recordings, you get your presentations, you get your lectures, you get everything online. You can submit assignments and projects online. You have a live forum where you can ask for help, even talk to the trainer, book some time and say that I want to talk to you about this topic if you have some time. And then you can also give the exam link there. You don't have to write 1 million emails, call people, follow up. You don't have to do anything. Right in the beginning, set expectations of everybody. Exam का link आपको online आएगा, 48 hours पहले आएगा, spam folder देख लेना, उस पर login कर लेना, अपना equipment test कर लेना. Typical, like I gave my MBA exams online because we gave it in COVID, my last semester. So हम लोगों को तो आ गया था, 1 महीने से पहले हुड़दंग शुरू हो गया था और ऑनलाइन सारा कुछ ऑनलाइन हुआ, स्मूथली हुआ. And there was this organization which was also hired to check your eye movements whether you're cheating or not. तो एक क्वेश्चन ना मैं ऐसे बैठ के देख रही थी, उसने मेरे को एग्जामिनर ने मुझे स्टॉप कर दिया एग्जाम. बोलते तुम चीट कर रहे हो, उधर कुछ लिखा हुआ है. फिर मुझे कैमरा घुमा के दिखाना पड़ा, वो कोई नहीं, मैं दीवार देख रही थी आंसर लिखने से पहले. सो दैट लेवल ऑफ कस्टमाइजेशन इनविजिलेशन इज नाउअडेज अवेलेबल. मजाक देख रही है, भूल गई थी क्या लिखता है, दीवार देख रही थी, अच्छा ये तो पढ़ा था.
Then
बट
is
बाय द
बता
वे,
देना,
madam,
आप हमें
this
बता देना, हम वहां से एमबीए नहीं करेंगे. We'll keep in mind.
Narsimonji. Narsimonji is one of the best. So there is IMT Ghaziabad. वहां से भी किए हैं मेरे colleagues ने. Useless. But then Narsimonji actually gives you a run for the money. It makes you really, really, really work hard. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do to be able to get your MBA from there. So मेरे को तो almost full time ही लगा था. मेरे वो हो जाता था मेरा 48-hour days हो जाते थे मेरे when I had to do from there. But it was an amazing experience. The project was amazing. I got to visit the campus. It was wonderful. It was a great program. So now let's look at the administrative activities for the trainer. Creating learning paths, batch creation, tracking, assessments, assignments, projects, uploading existing content, creating content from scratch, designing learning interventions, सब कुछ online हो सकता है. Which saves a lot of time, lot of PowerPoint time, lot of Excel sheets, lot of oh no, मैं सेव करना भूल गई, डिलीट हो गई, पता नहीं कहाँ रखा था, तेरे पास भेजा था क्या, मेल पे भेजा था क्या. All of that madness goes away. And then you have the gift of superior and diverse content. What does that mean? Does it mean that the current content that you're using for your trainings, for your other materials is not good? When you use a learning platform, you get the power of animations, you get the power to use gamification, you get the power to also dabble in a mixed, truly blended content. So you can also deliver. So it's not saying that the static content is not good enough, but for millennials and newer generation people, just static content is not attractive enough. It doesn't grab their attention. We spoke about adult learning principle, right? The 21 minutes has come down to less than 9 minutes. In fact, it has come down to 3 minutes. So when you are looking at somebody to listen to you, अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट, 3 मिनट से ज्यादा का आप एंगेज नहीं कर पाओगे, उन्हें क्यूरियस नहीं कर पाओगे, विल दे लिसन, विल इट वर्क, इट विल नॉट वर्क. सो व्हेन यू कैन प्ले और dabble in some AR, some VR and facilitate modules which are attractive, curious, and leaves a hook in the student to come back more for more, then there is a higher chance of getting an engagement. Guarantee फिर भी नहीं है, but it allows you to dabble with content which is the same. It can be the old wine in different new bottles, maybe in small quantities, because they cannot handle the entire wine bottle. So, and there's a research quote I have put here just to make it a little more relatable. Forrester Research is one of the top research organizations across the world. They said 75% more likability in case there is a video as compared to a document. Now, people like us will still go for the document, still the PDF, because I don't want somebody blabbering and talking and irritating me. I want to read at my own pace. I want to reread some sentences. I want to skip some paragraphs. I want to do it at my own pace. But nowadays, children prefer it to be a video. So that's the truth. So why not provide all the options to people? It's like a buffet you're providing to people. What's the end objective? People should learn. They should get better. And if you remember from our chapter number 5, what did we say? Focus of e-learning, overall development of the employee. Nirvana kya tha? Transformation of behavior after learning the course material. Whatever behavior you sought out to change, by the end of your course curriculum, साम दाम दंड भेद के use करके at the end of it हमने behavior बदल दिया. That is our end objective. So these are the features of digital learning platform. Now, gamification I've already spoken about. User-friendly interface I've already spoken about. Mobile application of learning. All of us pretty much know about this because nowadays almost every platform has a app, right? You don't only learn on your laptop, you also learn on your mobile phone. And the best part is, in case it's an adaptive platform, अगर आपने मोबाइल पे आधा छोड़ दिया और वापस आके अपना लैपटॉप शुरू किया, लैपटॉप वहीं से पिक करेगा जहां पे आपने पहले छोड़ा था. And then you have assessment management while keeping trainees motivated. Now, these are ongoing assessments that you can have just to reduce the pressure of people. You can have final course assessments also online. When you have ongoing assessments, people can take the time, they can plan out when they want to complete the assessment, when they want to upload their assessment. And also final course assessment, they get enough time and effort that requires to be put in to be able to do great in your final course assessment, because all the material, all the curriculum, everything is available online. You can go access it and you can then submit your final course assessment, which allows you time and space to do your best. ये नहीं कि 22 तारीख को अगर सबमिट करना है तो 21 तारीख को रात को बैठ के बोल रहे yes I will do my best. नहीं होता. Final course assessments, you read, you reread. I don't know how many of you have given an IAS exam or you have submitted any content for a publishing house. आप एक बार में नहीं जमा करते, आप 4, 5, 6, 7 iterations करते हैं. इनफैक्ट असेसमेंट्स आप इधर उधर अपने दोस्तों को भी ठीक लग रहा है, मेरा केस स्टडी अच्छा लग रहा है, have I used enough number of examples, and then you go ahead and upload, because assessments most of the time are a little more what should I say, subjective and less objective, because it's not an exam. It's the idea is to expand your knowledge, expand your mental capacity to be able to respond to the questions. Then there is polls and training feedback. So earlier feedback used to be, again, go back to guys, you told me you have already read about it, Kirkpatrick, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. What happens when you take a feedback immediately after the class? What level is it? Quick, come on. कौन बताएगा?
Reaction.
Number 1, right? Level 1. And then if you give a little bit time for it to marinate, what happens?
Learning.
Yes. Number 3, what happens after a period of time? Whether you see where there is change in behavior, that is the time you do a feedback, let us say after 6 months, that this training was undergone at that time. Then this is again done, not 360. It is done with the peers and the supervisors to find out whether there has been a behavior shift. So there is first is reaction, then there is learning, then there is behavior shift. That's level number 3. Level number 4 is organizational mission delivery. The reason why people did it to meet aspirations of the people, growth aspirations, as well as transformation of the organization. And the 5th one is whether this matches my aspirational agenda. Does it align? This level was added later. Earlier, the Kirkpatrick model had only 4 levels. The 5th level was added because it came to be discovered, even though it was human psychology and humans are evolving all the time, that unless and until my aspirations do not match some aspect of my job, I will not be 100% committed. So I had written a very small piece recently in LinkedIn about how loyal employees quit, how it happens, and how their agenda eventually dissociates from the organization. It's painstaking, it's sad, it's pitiful, but it happens. So it's one of the it's a small blog post, but then I thought very strongly about it. And the same thing I think about when we talk about performance management. अगर किसी बंदे का heart and soul lies in doing something else, this person is doing it as a stopgap, putting food on the table, etc., etc., the 100% commitment will never show up on their job. It will be 99, but never 100. How do you gauge these things? You gauge these things not from reaction or learning. You gauge them from level 3 and level 4 behavior. And sometimes, if you have the money and the effort, also level 5 behavior. So these tools allow you to design questionnaires, feedback, survey forms, and also allow to combine psychometry with these questions, because there are these ready-made templates that you can use to gauge behavior, gauge feedback, and also analyze the comments. There'll be some people who are highly critical. There'll be some people who will be giving you micro feedback about इस class में ये वाला example अच्छे से explain नहीं हुआ था. Some people will say too many examples. So there will be macro feedback, there will be micro feedback. The gift of learning management platforms is it allows you to analyze even those comments. So they'll give you a PDF, a comment analysis report, which will tell you what kind of comments were in majority and what are the red flags that stand out. And then last but not the least, there are options of integration. So there are various kinds of information systems in an organization. When here it's mentioned trainee information system, but truly if we are talking about an organization, it's employee information system. And that employee can be, I'm not discounting the contractors and the part-timers. Basically, everybody's demographic information, everybody's personal family details, etc., etc. All of this, if we are able to integrate with the learning platform, then when a person or an employee goes to one central portal to look at their own performance, they will be able to see everything, starting from their salary raise, starting from when they begin, their tenure in the organization, their geographical information, and their yearly feedback, their yearly score, their learning hours, what trainings they completed, what are incomplete. So basically consolidating everything. Now, one of the problems and one of the things that we talk about nowadays is called change fatigue. कुछ ना कुछ तो चेंज हो रहा है, कुछ ना कुछ नया तुम्हें मिल रहा है. नाउ एट वन पॉइंट इन टाइम यू आर एक्साइटेड अबाउट वाओ, ये मिल गया, वो मिल गया, वो मिल गया. नाउ यू आर लाइक क्या क्या देते जा रहे हैं, हमें तो चाहिए भी नहीं इतना कुछ. सो नाउ पीपल आर मूविंग इनटू रेकन्सिलिएशन कि भाई अलग अलग जगह मत भेजो लोगों को इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए, एक जगह भेजो जहां पे सारी चीजें अवेलेबल हो. सक्सेस फैक्टर्स डज दैट एफिशिएंटली, इफेक्टिवली एंड ब्यूटीफुल. It allows employees to look at all their data at one go, starting from your performance improvement data to your achievements, to your accolades, to your training hours, everything in one. So integration has become the way forward because of so much of technological intervention in our lives. So we then have to now focus on making sure that we are giving people a unified, least disruptive experience for them to find all information at one place. So integration is another gift of digital learning platform. Now you might be wondering कि मैंने क्या खाया था सुबह जो मैं इतनी देर बोली. अब आप लोग बोलेंगे, मैं थोड़ी देर चुप रहूंगी. So any questions that you would like to discuss, any feedback you would like to provide before we jump into parameters that will allow us to decide which learning platform is right for me and which learning platform is right for my organization. But before I jump into it, it's a heavy topic. Even this one was quite heavy, but I'm assuming since most of us are learning experts, we already have an idea in some shape and form about these features. But just to give some time to all of you to assimilate this and not be overwhelmed, let us open up for any questions. Any questions anyone has? Or anything any of you would like to share? Something you would like to. Yeah. कुछ नहीं बोलना किसी ने.
No, ma'am.
बोलना ही नहीं. Oh, why?
मैम बताए, it is, I mean, it's a flood of platforms and their benefits and their uses. So it's a flood of actually. So nothing to ask right now.
Okay. So let's make sure that the flood is managed and you guys are not overwhelmed. First of all, stop being overwhelmed. All of this is going to come to you in beautiful slides and all of this is present very precisely, concisely in your books. So आप लोगों ने अभी सिर्फ information मेरे से absorb करना है. आप जाएंगे, किताब खोलेंगे, it will be clear as day. कोई दिक्कत करने की जरूरत नहीं, कोई भी वो नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप इसको रटे. प्लीज डू नॉट. रटने से नहीं मजा आता. समझो, लिखना इजी होगा. जस्ट बताएं.
Thanks, ma'am. I just have a question. Now, learning about the different digital learning platforms makes us also think that this is such an integral part of every organization because you can't, training is such a big part of every organization. But still, there are organizations where digitalization hasn't happened yet, or maybe it's in still migration. And these are big captives that I'm talking about, not the small startups. So, what is the reason why they are taking or maybe adopting to digital platforms so slowly or so late?
कैटरपिलर्स देखे हैं? कैटरपिलर्स के कितने पैर होते हैं?
Not sure, but a lot of them.
Centipedes have 100 feet.
Yeah.
So big organizations are like large elephants. Big organizations are like centipedes. They have too many moving parts. Because there are too many moving parts, so I will make an admission here, and this is on recording, but I hope it's going to stay safe with all of you. I'm not going to name the organization. Me, in my infinite lack of wisdom and overexcitement, when I just learned about all this, मैंने कहा पूरे घर के बदल दूंगी, right? ECE bulb. Do you remember, guys? There used to be ad on
Yeah.
this ECE bulb. उसका लास्ट में टैगलाइन था पूरे घर के बदल दूंगा. तो मैंने सोचा मैं पूरे घर के बदल दूंगी. ठीक है. So I went, I sold a case and I sold with enthusiasm, passion, excitement, and I said मैं पूरे सब जगह का ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एक बार में कर दूं. This is an organization which has like thousands and thousands of employees, and it is not only based in India, it's across the world. And I said, you just give me a team and I will make sure that this gets implemented all over the world simultaneously. Everybody's like, seriously? You can? I said, yeah, I can. Yes, I will. I'll show it. I'll do it. So, वो जवानी का जोश तो होता ही है और इसमें कुछ गलती नहीं है. That is how you learn biggest lessons of your life. हम गए, हमने सारे डेटाबेस इंटीग्रेट कर दिए, सब कुछ करते हैं. And this is human resources, learning, performance data, everything. But in my wisdom, एक ही चीज मैंने सही की थी उस पूरे mess में कि I kept copies and backups for everything. Somehow, somebody screamed at the balcony of my head कि ये मत कर, at least backup रख ले. Don't push everything at one go. So and different time zones, not caring about anything. I went and I implemented it, wrote 15 emails, did change management, did everything by the book, made town halls, made leaders talk about the change that is happening, da 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 da. हमने जाके कर दिया implement. अगले दिन morning सोचो क्या हुआ? Guess करो क्या हुआ? Anybody wants to take a guess?
It was a big change. I'm sure people must have questions.
People had questions. People were confused. Okay, and Europeans
Yeah.
are extra confused. वो तो ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. दो चॉइस क्यों है, हमारे पास एक क्यों नहीं है? तो यूरोपियंस got confused. Americans they caught up. Okay, they caught up. This has happened. It should have been managed better. That's okay. Europeans were up in arms. ये too much change है हमारे लिए. हम तो नौकरी, हमारा बर्नआउट हो गया, हमारा स्ट्रेस आउट हो गया, हमें छुट्टी चाहिए, हम छुट्टी पे जा रहे हैं, बहुत कुछ हो गया. ठीक है. And then when I started checking the data, it had not migrated correctly. The integrations that were promised, many things are promised. I can promise you the moon and the stars. They didn't work well. There was an element of mistrust that got generated in my mind, which eventually came to haunt me as a mistrust in somebody called Tina. Because she says in over enthusiasm, she says, yes, she doesn't deliver. She creates organization-wide problems. I did it. I have no shame in admitting it. This what happens in case in your books you have read Where did organization go wrong? In, I think, chapter number 3 or 4, there are 4 or 5 examples where there are massive mistakes of digital transformation. Too much, too soon, without asking information, without checking whether this portion of the business is ready for the change. You go implement the change, you fall on your face, literally, face down. And then you bleed and you bleed and you bleed, and the correction takes even a longer period of time. So in
Yeah.
my story, it took 2.5 weeks to fix everything. Till that time, you will have to also deal with all the screaming, yelling, shouting, questions, queries, confusion, concerns. सैलरी प्रोसेसिंग रुक गया क्योंकि एक डेमोग्राफिक डेटा गलत था. सैलरी के जो फिगर्स थे, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई ऑलवेज से लुक एट करेंसीज. हमने सबको डॉलर्स में माइग्रेट किया था. इन सम कंट्रीज द पेमेंट वाज नॉट being done in that currency, which meant that हमें यूरोस का अरेंजमेंट करना था, हमें फोरेंस का अरेंजमेंट करना था, हमें सिंगापोरियन डॉलर्स, कैनेडियन डॉलर्स का हमने कुछ किया ही नहीं था, क्योंकि हमें लगा था डॉलर्स तो डॉलर से डाल दो, देखा जाए. फाइनेंस वालों ने बोला, हमने कब हाँ बोला था, लोग मुकर गए. So I'm just telling you why things do not happen fast in larger organizations. There is a gift behind it. We have to do it phase by phase. Some people don't even want to start it because they know of these problems will show up, and they require dedicated teams to make sure that these problems do not create larger implications for the organization. Shanti se sab kuch chal raha hai. What is it? Comfort zone. Now, do people want to disrupt their comfort zone? Most of the people do not want to disrupt their comfort zone. And lack of all creativity and the death of brilliance lies in the comfort zone. If you sit in the comfort zone, you will destroy your brilliance and your creativity because you're not willing to take a risk. And to Bharat's point, and other people who are commenting on the chat, that is why you do pilot and you make a progressive plan as to how, when things will be implemented across the organization. So that's one my first and biggest mistake of my life. And there is always resistance to change, Vijay. Always resistance to change. No matter what big and what innovative company you have, there will always be resistance to change. Yes, Bharat.
So there is one more observation because I saw an organization going in this kind of changes.
Yes.
So sometime being creative field, we have created something. It is like a pouring everything at a time,
Hmm.
and the people, those who are consuming, they don't want everything. They want some
Exactly.
specific thing.
Yes.
So for them, it is like means what and where they need to check. So they get
Exactly.
confused.
Yes. They don't want
So,
that information. हमें लगता है उन्हें चाहिए मगर उन्हें चाहिए ही नहीं.
हाँ,
They don't
so
want it.
so we
मेरे
have
को
seen
खिचड़ी
that,
चाहिए. मेरे को
right,
खिचड़ी चाहिए, मुझे दही चाहिए, मुझे अचार चाहिए फॉर लंच. तुमने मुझे लाके पकोड़े भी दे दिए, तुमने मुझे खीर भी दे दी, तुमने मुझे सब्जी भी, मुझे चाहिए ही नहीं था. You are confusing me. I just want 3 things and I don't want anything else. It's none of my business. I don't want to know. Most of the time, learning experts and even supervisors have this misconception. पहली बात, I know what is right for them. Number two, they require everything. No, they don't. Make those levels very clear and touch the most critical people last. The topmost layer.
एक
Touch them
सिंपल
last.
एग्जांपल
Yes,
है
sir.
मैडम, जैसे वो लोग होता है ना कुछ होटल्स में थाली
Hmm.
परोस देते हैं 10-15 डिश के साथ,
हाँ.
लेकिन जो पर्सन है वो गाला गाला का आदी है, उसको अपने
हाँ.
चॉइस से ही देना है तो बहुत
Exactly.
जंबल हो जाता है.
They want to get the buffet and you are force
हाँ,
feeding them something they don't want to eat. So eventually,
राइट.
what will they give you? A bad feedback saying that you gave me what I didn't want. And you were like, what? I gave you what you wanted and more, but I didn't want more. I just wanted that. You could have made what I wanted even better, but no, you gave me additional things to confuse me, and I don't even want that. And it's very difficult to read people's minds. Yes, Garima. And how they will react.
Ma'am, just wanted to ask if I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It is sometimes monetary,
Yes.
changes.
Yes.
That's why it is hard to implement those things very quickly. I mean, these learning
Yes.
platforms and, going online. So this is somewhere, somewhat you need to, buy some softwares, buy some LMS kind of things, and it enhances. I mean, it increases the cost also.
The cost is one of the big factors, and that is why when we were talking of 6 digital transformation pillars and we're talking about soft skill chapter 1, we spoke about all these things. One of the assumptions is that the organizational vision is to change. So Jaspreet's question, one of the biggest assumption is कि budget pass हो गया उसके बाद slow हो रहा है. अगर बजट नहीं पास हुआ है और लोगों को लग रहा है कि बहुत महंगा है, हमें क्यों करना है, then what will happen? If you keep sitting, what will happen to you? You will keep getting what results you are getting. You will keep doing the same things, you will keep getting the same results, you will keep doing the same things, you will keep getting the same results, and eventually the train will come because you're sitting on the tracks and it will go over you. और तुम्हें पता नहीं चलेगा तुम्हारे साथ क्या हुआ, what hit you. That happened to Nokia, that happened to BlackBerry, that happened to endless number of examples in the world. कितनी companies थी, अब नहीं है. Because they continued, they chose to continue doing what they were doing really well. But that didn't cut it. So smart organizations like Accenture, smart organizations like Google, Deloitte, Facebook, they know that they will have to change 100 times faster than the change that is coming. The train of change is coming. You have to keep 1,000 times steps ahead of it. So when it hits you, you are ready. So organizations which will resist, ठीक है वो resist करेंगे. Eventually the train will walk over them. That is what will happen. Take it in writing. Or they will evolve or adapt or diversify in a way that they will avoid the train. Because the train on that track is not coming that fast. इस track पे आ गई है राजधानी के speed से. Right? It is difficult to take people out of comfort zone because they think मैं तो बहुत अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, मुझे क्या जरूरत है change करने की. The only way to take people out of comfort zone is to show what they are missing out of. With him, clear karo, with him, clear karo, with him, clear karo. When you are able to clear the WIFM, and that is why it is difficult to get budget approvals from leaders, is when they cannot relate to the picture you are showing. You are showing a picture, they cannot see it because they don't relate to it. Show them a picture they relate to and then make the changes and say, see, now after making these changes, these are the benefits we're getting. And the second thing is showing the competitors making the changes. That can convince. Otherwise, ये निकालना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, especially for digital transformation. People think it's too expensive and we don't need it. चल तो रहा है अच्छे से, क्या जरूरत है इसकी? I have 2 organizations that told me चल तो रहा है, क्या जरूरत है? Now there are 2 options there. You continue working there, you continue working to prove the value that the changes will bring, or else you choose this is not the right place to bring in these changes. Let me try and optimize the existing systems. And if you are not happy with it and you are aware कि ट्रेन आएगी और धक्का लगेगा और लोगों की नौकरियां जाएंगी और कंपनी बंद होगी, पहले ही कूद जाओ at the right time, finding a different job. Why is the thing? No shame in it. There's no shame in it. Yes, Shirley.
Actually, what you're saying makes me remember of a certain government organization which has had huge losses time and again because they have not digitally transformed or updated their systems based on the current conditions. And
Yes.
people have taken advantage of it, and not once and not twice. And sadly, people are still taking advantage of that bank
Yeah.
because their
Yeah.
systems are not updated. And they
Yes.
think like, and because the biggest challenge over there is they are not answerable to their customers because
Because government is a huge machinery. So the reason why many organizations still survive is because the government's backing is a very different kind of a backing. There's
yes,
a lot of peace, there's a lot of calm, there's a lot of assurance because it's the government of the country. But even then, we have to remember the larger view is the taxpayers' money. At the end of it,
exactly.
paying for all of that.
Exactly, exactly. And the saddest thing is that because see, when we are talking about private organizations, we have to think about a performance every quarter, half yearly. But sadly, none of the government organizations on any level, I think they ever think about performance review or any updation because कोई सवाल ही पूछता नहीं है उनको.
तो उनको तो अटेंडेंस मार्क करने के लिए भी मोदी had to put in directives and force people to
Exactly.
get to work. I mean,
That is
imagine.
sad. That is really sad.
It is sad, but also in a way you see that even if the train of change is hitting, it's slowly now changing things. Look at how Air
Yes.
India changed. They had to.
Yes.
They had to be forced into change. Moving people out of the comfort zone is the biggest challenge, and that's why all these fancy
True.
conversations about project management, change management, communication management, all of this is coming into play. That's your pillar number 1 and pillar number 2.
And also
Yes,
the
sir.
amount
But
of
on lighter side, still Air India is very rude.
Very rude.
yeah,
And
but
India ladies, yeah,
yes,
sorry.
yeah,
Not
Yeah,
ladies
sorry.
only, but all.
Yeah. Adding to that, the point that you said about WIFM, somehow many organizations are still unable to understand or break it down into that. Because
That's why they can't articulate it. And because they
exactly,
can't articulate it, people can relate to it.
exactly.
अब
And that is why
तुम मोमोज की दुकान में साउथ इंडियन चटनी का अगर वो लगाओगे ऐड लगाओगे किसको समझ आएगा यार?
बराबर बात.
You have to break it down to the level of what people are used to getting and used to reading and used to understanding. And that is why many of the mergers and acquisitions go haywire. Let me tell you that also. And so I am good on time. That's why I can share this example. There was this Chinese organization, is an organization in Hong Kong. We were doing a merger and acquisition. We were going bonkers. हम बोलते थे कुछ नहीं समझ आता था उन्हें. Nothing. So हमने पूछा language barrier. हमने language barrier decide किया. हमने language ठीक किया. Then हमने बोला okay, maybe time barrier. हमने टाइम बैरियर उनके टाइम के हिसाब से हमने कम्युनिकेशंस करना शुरू किया. तब भी उन्हें समझ नहीं आ रहा हम जो बोल रहे हैं. कोई चेंजेस नहीं कर रहे हैं. हमारा फेज 1 फेल हो गया, फेज 2 फेल हो गया. Then we got a couple of people, native people, okay, from that, but then they were still based in other countries. उन्होंने भी कुछ किया, 20% success, फिर भी कुछ नहीं आया. Finally we went to the local offices and we said, भाई क्या करना है बता, तुम ही बता दो क्या बोलेंगे तो तुम्हें समझ आए. Then those people came up with ideas which we didn't think of, and it worked. So that is why sometimes if you are not able to understand it, and even if you understand it, if you can't articulate it, people won't get it. They will resist the change and they will continue sitting in the comfort zone. And in that effort, वो खुद तो जाएंगे डूबेंगे तुम्हारे को भी साथ में डूबेंगे ले डूबेंगे. So Delhi Metro is trying to modernize itself. This is my last example, okay? But I try to give these examples for all of you to understand the concept we are talking about. Delhi Metro is modernizing itself. So they are starting these cards. So initially they had made this Delhi Metro card that you can purchase and you can charge. It was something like an Oyster card in the UK and the travel card in the US. So it was quite nice, very successful. People loved it, people bought it, people would recharge it. बड़ा सुंदर सा मशीन लगा दिया था. वो पेटीएम से कर लो, किसी से भी कर लो, बहुत बढ़िया चल रहा. Then suddenly they had this brilliant idea that we shouldn't only use it for metro, we should make it a transport card, just like Oyster in UK. It works everywhere in all transport lines. So they now launched this something called NCMC card. I don't know how many of you have that card, but NCMC card has been launched in conjunction with Airtel. So Airtel's payments bank is managing that card, its recharge, etc., etc. Now the fun part is that card is not hack proof. The minimum recharge is not 50, not 100, it's 200. Again, I don't know where that money figure came from. For a common man, most people buy tickets at the counter for 10 rupees. Okay. How can you expect them to carry 200 people in the 200 rupees in their wallet to be able to charge that card? So that's a funny question I wanted to ask, that who in their right mind in India, a country like ours, put a minimum chargeable value of 200 rupees? I think it's too much. We should put something around 100 or 50. Chalo, wo bhi theek hai. Now, because it's not hack proof, at the counter, when you buy that card, this strange chap, weird chap with a red t-shirt, every station has one guy with like that sitting beside the ticket counter giving out these NCMC cards. मैंने खरीदा पहले 2 दिन तो ठीक चला. अचानक से एक दिन उसमें मैसेज आया 16 rupees has been deducted. मैंने बोला हैं, मैं तो घर पे हूँ. Then I thought maybe some balance from the previous travel etc. got deducted. Then what happened? Next day, I was at home entire day. There were 3 deductions: 32 rupees, 36 rupees, 11 rupees. I said, this is wrong. So I called up the Airtel Payments Bank. They had no clue. They had no idea. They are saying call DMRC. DMRC is saying call somebody else. Call somebody else. Total confusion. मैंने चला छोड़ो ना, एक बार गलती हो गई होगी. Next day morning, 54 rupees, 52 rupees. Somebody has clearly cloned the card or hacked the card and they're continuously using my money while I sit here, scream, yell, helpless, and they're saying we'll not give you refund, and even if you give the refund, तुम्हें यही card use करना पड़ेगा, which is now been proven that it's been hacked. What is this an example of? Eventually, I blocked the card, so that ends the story. and I filed a complaint on Delhi Metro. They have this QR code of fraudulent transactions. So they are aware of it. The fun part is they were aware of it. They hadn't fixed it and they still launched the card. So what is the proof of? What is this an example of? Would somebody want to venture? Failure of digitization implementation. Yes. Ganesh, what else? Specifically, what is it a failure of?
Security.
Security, cyber security. What else?
Acceptance that there is a
Mechanism.
mistake. There was a mistake.
So if it were you, how will you implement this card? Let's now do a case study. Batao, if it were you,
The best would be to implement what is successful. Delhi Metro cards are successful. Nowadays, there is a group thing that all the government institutions and all the government mechanisms do not work well. So sometimes because of that group thing, the things get awarded to private sector unnecessarily.
So in
अगर
Had
आप
Delhi
करते,
Metro been made, had Delhi Metro been made the nodal agency for NCMC for throughout the country, that would have worked better. In my case, I also bought the Airtel card, and what has
Yes.
happened, it is not allowing me to recharge.
Okay.
It is saying that your payment has been blocked, and I do not know why it has been blocked.
See, he has also an issue. So if it were you and you were in charge of Delhi Metro, now instead of complaining, let's say you are in Delhi Metro, an employed Delhi Metro employee. You are the head of digital transformation and you've been given a mandate that सब cards, सारे transport lines एक ही कार्ड से चलेंगे. अभी सिर्फ मेट्रो चल रहे हैं, एयरटेल के साथ कोलैबोरेशन करो और ये ट्रेन, बस, टेम्पो कहीं पे भी हमारे कार्ड चलेंगे, उसके अरेंजमेंट करो. व्हाट विल बी योर स्ट्रेटजी बी? केस स्टडी बताओ क्या
Ma'am,
करो.
in case we do not have the bandwidth to do so, the very idea of giving a monopoly to one partner is incorrect. Had because previously it was a Paytm, then Paytm locked up, then they gave it to Airtel. Now at that time of Paytm, Airtel was not available. Now with Airtel, Paytm is not available, and you had to go to the extent of blocking your cards. So in
Yes.
case in case you are giving a ready-made market to anybody, it should be and you have done the groundwork. And if you do
Yes.
not want to go into that particular business, the best idea is to create a competition. Had Airtel had a competition, your complaint would have been dealt easily. Now, in case of Airtel,
Yeah.
what they're doing, they're putting up a person who is not very well trained, who is
Yes.
just somehow knows how to do how to start your card, and then what they do, if you go to them with any complaints, they're unable to do it. And what will happen in the evening? They will not be available. They will be available only in morning. So in morning you are
Exactly.
in rush. In evening you are not in rush. So the best
Yes.
idea, even if the implementation is a little slow, you can have 2-3 banks competing at one point of time. And you can also say that, okay, you take this station, you take that station. If somebody is unable to do so, element of competition should always be there, and monopoly should not be awarded on a plate. This is
Fabulous.
very,
Fabulous idea. Strategy. अब तुमने मुझे strategy बोला है अलंकार. So, and thank you. Ganesh has been contributing on the chat quite a few good ideas. He said blockchain, he said facial recognition. Those are all good points. Bharat, your hand is up. Let's hear from Bharat.
Yeah, so because I have an experience of leveraging one of the artificial intelligence tool for customer interaction of my learner. So what we have done, we have called for 2-3 vendor first. We stated our expectation, and then we have looked into that what are the priority. So let's say in your case it is a card and transaction kind of thing. So obviously the priority is security and all those things. Then we have done 2-3 pilots, looking at which one is matching our expectation. Still, after coming out of 3 options, we have selected 2, and again to those 2, we have given some additional expectation, ensuring that the learner should get better experience. Not only that, if we consider the card purchase, then security would be the one option. And then because we have stated our expectation, both were means working very hard to come up on that, and eventually the one organization come up and it is working smoothly. So with this example, I want to say if we would like to have a better version, we need to check at least 2-3 option and look at that which one is working better, and go ahead with a few pilots with our own our people, so that there is will be less risk. So
Yes.
safe zone player.
Perfect. Perfect. I like this idea. In fact, I was waiting for this idea. Okay, I'm going to discuss this more. Surely, let's hear your inputs as well before I
Yes.
discuss.
So based what the other person said, along with that, I think so. If from the customer care point of view or from the organization point of view, as a part of DMC, if I'm seeing a lot of complaints or tickets coming about wrong deductions, the first and foremost thing is probably stop it. Stoppage is the first point where we can ensure that, because this is hard earned money. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter if it's 2 rupees or it's 50 rupees. It's someone's hard
Hmm.
earned money. Stop
Hmm.
it and then take a sample issue like Bharat and Ganesh and everyone else saying it. Take a sample, see where the challenges are, where there is a gap, and then work on it. And then probably once we get a solution to it, then we can go ahead and update our systems accordingly. Because see, I can understand while we are doing this, many persons may complain that aapne stop kar diya service. This was a good one, but I think it is better than losing someone's money. So probably, so in Japan, I'm sure you know this, that even if the trains are like few seconds late, they do inform everyone. Or even in Mumbai, if
Yes.
there is something like
Yes.
a IMD with a red alert or something, they inform via SMS there is a red alert. So you can,
Hmm.
as DMC, they can inform all the customers that we are stopping this because we are receiving, there are some challenges at the back end, something of that sort. Work on that challenge and come and update the system so that the persons are not losing on their money. And as Bharat and Alankar has been saying, provide alternate options. Like in Mumbai, we have the card system, but along with that, like I'm not a frequent traveler Mumbai Metro. So I have a nice option. I don't know if Delhi has that. I have a very nice option where I can just do a WhatsApp and book the ticket.
Even we have it. We have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We have.
like and that is a day-to-day kind of a thing, like a return. And it's so easy because I just say hi and I can book the ticket by using
Yeah. It's the
UPI
same.
and
It's the
everything.
same. It's the
So
same.
yes, so if we have that alternate option, people are at least not losing out on their money.
Exactly.
Till the
So the
time we are working on it.
only difference is that when you do that on WhatsApp, they charge you a minimum transaction fee if you're paying through credit card. So
Through
if the
credit card,
ticket,
yes, yes.
yes. So if you are paying through a normal counter, you go in 40 rupees, it might be 41 rupees 90 paisa, something like that. A
Yeah.
minimum change in difference.
But UPI
Okay.
does not charge. That is one good thing.
UPI does not charge. That because that will go from the bank. Now think of a poor man. He wants to
हाँ,
classify his
correct.
expenses. वो
Got it.
अपना चाह रहा है ट्रैवल का सारा मैं बाद में पे करूंगा. ये मेरे रोटी का पैसा है. I don't want to transfer it from my bank. What option do you have then?
हाँ
Okay.
जी, वो point
So
भी.
then because you are charging me 1 rupee 90 paisa extra, and for India, country like India, 1 rupee 90 paisa is still valuable. Okay, and why would I want to charge something? So now let's transform this case study into an exam. So guys, this is exam preparation. So I will touch the rest of the chapter later on. Those of you who are here are fortunate enough to hear a case study in action. Okay, and now I'm telling you, when we ask an exam, identify the problems being faced by XYZ, Tina, in this situation, and suggest, with the help of 6 transformational pillars, what measures you will suggest. All the things that you have suggested, guys, here will fit into one of the pillars. But how you present in your answer sheet will make the difference as to whether you have truly been able to explain the case study or not. So, in this situation, first of all, what are the few items that you have identified did not go well? Number one, customer care people who have been hired are inferior. Airtel doesn't have bad customer service. But why is this card having such very poor, badly spoken, confused people? Because they've just picked up a bunch of people because they are going to be government contracted. They are paid extremely low salaries. Okay. The same is the situation for SBI credit cards. I used to work in My Money Mantra. We used to deal in SBI credit cards and SBI insurance. The people whom we hire, including the location of the contact center, used to be different, like Achut. अलग होते थे. उनके लोगों की हायरिंग अलग होती थी, उनकी सैलरी अलग होती थी. Everything used to be different because they are not the creme de la creme. They are not servicing Citibank or an Access or something else. So the people whom we would hire, their qualification would be lower. They will not be knowledgeable. They will not be smart. They will not be trained enough. So first of all, there is a training issue. Number two, you haven't tested it. The pilot hasn't been done. So your pillar one, pillar two has failed. Okay, your pilots haven't been done. Neither have you done a pilot internally for employees. Neither have you done pilot line by line, be it blue line or yellow line or pink line. You haven't done that. Also, you have opened all sources and you're trying to test in all sources at one go. Why? like Shuli mentioned, why not make sure that in these lines only this Paytm and UPI and will work? This will not work for you guys for X period of time. This will be available to you in January 2025. Before that, we are testing XYZ. So if there is a lack of a sequential approach. Third, has there been, once you know the problems, are you trying to go and fix it? Are you going to the drawing board to make any changes? No. You are trying to do patchwork by saying, acha grievance dalo, fir dekhenge. So basically, you are letting the problem become worsen before you can fix it. So that is like going backwards before you come forward, which is a waste of time, effort, energy, taxpayers' money. Yeah. So identify these pointers and tie them to your transformational pillars or any other strategy that we are asking you to use in your case study. Please, guys, when you write your exams. Because wo padhne mein mera dimag kharab ho jata hai. Because most of the questions that you respond to, the answers are there. But you are not able to tie it to the tool that we are asking you to use. Yes, Ganesh.
Yes, sorry, madam, but when
No,
you
no,
are
go ahead.
talking about the Airtel, just wanted to
Yes.
share the recent experience.
Mhm.
I wanted the second line for the internet to secure
Okay.
my work from home and
Mhm.
the family entertainment. So I
Mhm.
approached Airtel and they said like,
Mhm.
okay, we will give it. So they
Mhm.
have some bundled, I think, black plan something
Yes.
that
Yes.
they will
Airtel
give
Black.
the,
Yeah.
yes, so they will give something like 350 channels free,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
Netflix, then the
Hmm.
internet with 300 Mbps. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, fine, please come and install it. So the
Hmm.
team came, the first team came, they installed the internet, they installed the router, and the
Hmm.
second team came, they said like there is a building in behind your house,
Hmm.
so there is no signal, so we cannot do that.
Hmm.
I said, fine,
Oh.
no problem. So I said like there is another building in front of me, so our society is giving me permission, so please install it there.
Hmm.
It didn't come up. So I said, fine, I mean, I don't want these services. So I closed the services. Now the people are trying to retrieve the router which was installed in my house. Now when they send the courier person, the person said like the router is of Nokia. I cannot take it.
Yes. Yes.
And he said like I want only Airtel router.
Hmm.
I said from where I should bring the Airtel router? Now it must
Hmm.
be with you that what service you have given. And do you think like I
Yeah.
should remember everything like whatever you installed, what company router you installed? Now it
Hmm.
is almost a 1 month. They are asking me to give
Hmm.
me Airtel router. And I'm saying like you have installed Nokia router.
Hmm.
Now sometimes they are saying like, okay, it is our mistake, so we will collect it. But they are not
Okay.
coming up. Now it
Very
is still
nice.
lying in my house and they are not coming at all. Now
And
I
it's not
don't know. I
working also.
mean,
The best part.
no, I stopped the services. I said like I don't want
So
because
it's of no
there
use.
are, yeah, I mean there are a lot of funny things like they said like Netflix is free on this I mean this plan, and
Huh.
I started it, and then later on I got 200 rupees extra bill. So I said like what is this
Oh,
200? They
damn.
said like your Netflix plan was a basic plan and you have extended to the standard plan. I said where I did it, show me the proof. And
Yeah.
this is like no, you have done it. I said like
I haven't done
man,
it. Damn it.
yeah, I mean, I had a separate Netflix and I thought like this plan is included in that.
Yeah.
So I will take the integrated services. And now you're saying
Hmm.
like again 200 pay for that. So it was
Hmm.
very good for me that separate I have taken the Netflix, separate I have
Thank God.
broadband locally, and then
Yes.
blah blah blah. They yelled like anything, or they I mean they were saying sorry so many times, but nobody came and nobody installed, nobody
So
solved the
it's not
problem.
fixed for me either. So Ganesh, you
Yeah,
and I are on the same boat. Even I have a Nokia router. It's nicely secured upstairs. They got confused as to what they had delivered. Half the team knows half information. The rest of the
yeah.
team knows half information.
I don't
So
know what to
lovely
do.
case study.
Yeah,
What is the main disconnect here? There is no proper communication channel.
there's no proper
There isn't a
communication.
central database. I think they're separate teams, right? The ground
Yeah,
team is not talking to the customer team, so they're giving conflicting information.
yeah. And the person who initiated this is now not picking the phone. Now
Excellent.
I have to
बहुत बढ़िया सब
always,
ब्लॉक कर दो तुम.
yeah. Or nowadays I have to go through that all numbers like press this number for this service, press this
Oh
number
my
for
God.
this service, and then after 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I finally reach somewhere, and then they says like your wait time is 5 minutes, your wait time is 4 minutes, and
Damn.
then it is becoming very headache, leaving my work, wasting time on this only. and
Then just
still
close it. It's
router
at
is
it's at your
lying at
place,
home.
right? The router is at your place. And what I
Yeah,
have done is, like last time I wrote a complaint and I said, if somebody, any one of you call me for this router nonsense, I will file a police complaint. That's what I told them. That this is harassment. You have come and you tried to install something which didn't work. It's lying with me. Please take it away. If you cannot take it away, don't call me and ask me for all these details. And the last time somebody called me 2 months back, this is 8 months before. 2 months back, somebody called me. I told them that,
God.
they said, what company the router is? I said, I don't know. Then they said something else. I said, I don't know. And then there's something else. He said, Madam, can't you read English? I said, no, I don't know. You come and check. Send somebody and come and check what it is. And then they didn't call me again. See, it's with me, right? Now it's with me. I will not respond to them. Simple. I've just made it my point because, like you said, we have our lives, we have work to do. We can't be wasting our time
Yeah, I
headbutting
mean,
with people who are stupid.
how do you expect like me to see or confirm that which router you have installed, and
Say
then
you
while
can't read. Say I
closing
am
it,
unpad. Say I am unpad. Say I am not educated. My son is out of the house. He is the one who installed it. I am an old father. I don't know what to say. That's it. See,
yeah,
you
and it is
find an
really funny.
alternative.
I mean, yeah, and I was really surprised like this. You're staying so far from my place. I mean, I'm in
Yeah,
Pune, and you're in
yeah,
Delhi, and this
yeah.
company is working so
This
as
is
a
this
or
is common problem. Airtel has this common problem,
so.
and there is a lot of different kind of teams that they have acquired, and they have different levels of knowledge. When it was small, it was better managed. Now it's all over the place. It's a common problem.
But just wondering the scale of the, I mean, loss or the scale of the
Yes.
transaction, that
Yeah.
what level such a
Loss
big
of
company
business
can
as
also
well.
be, yeah, is
Yeah.
doing it. It's really strange. I mean,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Nandan, go ahead. You put your hand up.
Right. अभी आपने mention किया ना 6 pillars वाला. So it's there
हाँ.
in the assignment as well. I yesterday did it
Yes.
actually. So उसी
Yes.
के I was just want to discuss that. So this is around the culture, experience, people, change, and innovation, right? And then we need to put cross what kind of changes that it brings in
Yeah.
strategic implementation का, right?
Yeah.
उसी के
Yes.
around we are talking about, right?
उसी के अराउंड में बोल रही हूँ, जो भी आपको क्वेश्चन में आएगा, जो भी आपको क्वेश्चन केस स्टडी में आएगा, उसको 3 तरीके से अप्रोच करना है. पहले आपको पूछेंगे कि प्रॉब्लम क्या है, वो तो आप बता
Correct.
दोगे. प्रॉब्लम के
ठीक है.
बाद जब आपको पूछेंगे सजेस्ट सोल्यूशन यूजिंग सो एंड सो मॉडल, आप उस मॉडल को लिखना मत लग जाना प्लीज, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग द मॉडल. वी डोंट वांट टू नो द मॉडल, वी नो द मॉडल. वी वांट यू टू कनेक्ट दिस मॉडल के बेसिस पे ये रिकमेंडेशन है.
Okay.
Okay, so based on this model, pillar number 1, this is the steps I will take. Pillar number 2, this is the steps I will take. Pillar number 3, this is what I will implement. Pillar number 4, this is the steps I will take. Then I will see that, acha, ye problems hai, he is given a solution based on this model that was recommended कि आप ये use करके हमें बताइए. Then your case study is complete. Do not go 1, 11, 72, 39, 99, 83, सारा कुछ लिख के मेरे को दे दिया पेपर में. है सब कुछ उसमें, बट इट इज अ मम्बो जम्बो. कितना मिलेगा 20 में से 5.
But assignment में तो we can write it like this ना. We can
असाइनमेंट
tell
में
you the
कुछ भी कर सकते हो तुम. असाइनमेंट में कुछ
assignment.
भी कर सकते हो. असाइनमेंट इज फॉर प्रैक्टिस, एंड दैट्स व्हाई राइट नाउ दिस इज आल्सो अ प्रैक्टिस सेशन. टेक Ganesh's example, take my example as a case study and apply these models to it. जो भी मॉडल हो, मैकेंजी 5, ठीक है, मैकेंजी 5S में से क्या क्या चीजें इसमें गलत हुई निकालो और क्या तुम्हारा रिकमेंडेशन होगा. ये गलत, ये ठीक होना चाहिए, ये गलत, ये ठीक होना चाहिए, ये गलत, ये ठीक होना चाहिए, ऐसे करके डालो. इंग्लिश में
Connecting the
डालो,
dots, है.
connecting the dots, and use it in English. It's not given in any book. And nobody's checking your grammar here. We are wanting to check your thought process so that once you go back, you are able to implement.
Correct,
ऐसे
correct,
केस
correct.
स्टडी बनाते हैं. केस स्टडी में
Right.
जो मेरे पास हर साल एग्जाम्पल में आते हैं, आई फील सैड that people have the answers, but it's a mumbo jumbo. For example, right now, when all of you were suggesting solutions, you have to think the solutions are great. चाहो तो उसको लिख लो एक जगह में, लिख के बोलो इसको कौन से पिलर के साथ मैं कनेक्ट कर सकता हूँ, and then type the answer.
But the reason here is कि सबको memory test चाहिए ना. The problem here is everyone needs a memory test. तो वो
हाँ,
memory
तो
test तो book से ही आएगा ना सारा. The
मेमोरी
thing
टेस्ट
is.
बुक से आएगा. सो अगर आप लेक्चर सुनोगे, बिकॉज दीज आर पिक्चर्स, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि बिकॉज दीज मॉडल्स आर ड्रॉन इन पिक्चर्स, यू जस्ट लुक एट द मॉडल एंड अंडरस्टैंड द मॉडल. टेक्स्ट
Correct.
समझने के लिए पढ़ो, रटने के लिए मत पढ़ो. अगर वो फोटोज भी याद कर लोगे ना, उस फोटोज के साथ कनेक्ट करने में दिक्कत नहीं होगा एग्जाम में.
Similarly
क्योंकि
आपने
एग्जाम में
Airtel
जो
का
पार्ट
बताया
बी
ना.
है आपका, वो केस स्टडी ही होगा. रिमेम्बर दैट.
राइट, आपने एयरटेल का बताया ना, एयरटेल को शुरू से ही कस्टमर सर्विस में प्रॉब्लम रहा है ऑल ओवर
हमेशा रहा।
इंडिया.
हाँ
So
हाँ हाँ हाँ
this is my experience as well. When I call
हाँ
them, my call land up in Arunachal or sometimes in Andhra.
हाँ
So मैं
हाँ
उनसे
हाँ
language barrier में आ जाता है problem फिर. They're
हाँ
not understanding what I'm saying. So there is
yes.
a lot of issues with Airtel. Lot of
And
issues with it.
also their training is not good, because
Poor,
sometimes
poor.
you get a good executive, they understand, but sometimes you get such idiots, they don't understand a word you are saying, and they keep repeating and they keep saying, may I put your call on hold? You have
हमारे
to
को
check.
कॉल आया था दिल्ली में. जस्ट टू टेल यू,
हम्म,
हमारे को कॉल आया था दिल्ली में, ग्रीन पार्क में रहते थे तो 19 फ्रेंड्स थे. तो कॉल
हाँ
आया कि बिल पेमेंट ड्यू है. तो सबको एक
हाँ
एक करके कॉल दिया. लास्ट में जो रूम क्लीन करने आया था ना उसको कॉल दिया. वो कहता भैया मैं तो रूम साफ करने आया हूँ. दिस व्हाट वी यूज्ड टू डू विद एयरटेल.
oh my god. So-
We are hearing
okay.
the secrets of the other side now.
Yeah, yeah.
एयरटेल इज रियली पथेटिक. आप फोन करोगे ना, दे विल नॉट सॉल्व योर क्वेरी, दे विल डिले इट एंड दे विल से
It's
नहीं
very
सर बिल तो
sad.
डिफरेंट है. वाईफाई के
And
साथ भी दिस इज द सेम थिंग.
yeah, and they will say ki we will let you know, we will let you know. They take our complaint several a time. Then again
हाँ
from starting we need to explain them that what was our problem from ABC. So that
नहीं,
is
वो
a
ऐसा
दे विल
लगता है
आस्क
जैसे
यू,
नोट्स नहीं लिखते हैं, ऐसा लगता है
दे विल
नोट्स ही
आस्क
नहीं
यू कि
लिखते हैं.
आप पीछे से हमें पैसे दे देते ना. मेरे को एक
हम्म,
आया था इंस्टॉल करने D2H
really?
सर्विस. हाँ, दे आस्क मी कि सर आप
Wow.
हमें बोल देते डायरेक्ट कॉल कर लेते, आप सेंटर में फोन कर रहे हो इसलिए ज्यादा पैसे देने पड़ेंगे. आपके पास तो मेरा नंबर है. मेरे पास नंबर था उसका. मैंने
यहाँ
कहा
सब
एक साल
एयरटेल
से मैं,
प्रताड़ित लोग हैं.
1 year I've been following up with your customer service team. Every month I need to call them like it's a duty for me. Every month I need to
Yeah,
call them, once in a month and tell them this is the situation that I'm facing. So वो मेरे
this
को
is
जो
so
बंदा चेक
sad.
करने आता था वहां का एरिया का, वो बोलता है सर
Hmm.
आपके पास जब मेरा नंबर है व्हाई डोंट यू कॉल मी एंड आप
This
मेरे
is
को इतना पैसे.
MTNL. Do you remember guys? MTNL में भी यही करते थे वो लोग, बोलते थे कि वहां कंप्लेन मत करो, लाइनमैन को पैसा दे दो, वो जल्दी हो जाता था.
करेक्ट.
Exactly this used to happen.
After 2 years I paid him and everything was smooth.
See, so people will find their shortcuts. People will find their shortcuts. And to Raj Lakshmi's question, psychometric tests are good, but they are not 100% accurate. And now, why do I say that it's not 100% accurate? Because psychometric is an aspect of human personality. For example, you will be surprised to know, if you look at my psychometric profile, I won't tell you all the traits, but the one we are talking about, which I'm going to make fun of, is I come out to be an extrovert. Now, when I appear to people, I'm an extrovert. But if you look at my psychometric, there are three kinds of profiles. If you see the profile number 4, it says she's a deep introvert. Now, it doesn't match from my personality. Nobody can make out I'm an introvert. Because we, as humans, we evolve over a period of time. There are certain traits because of societal compulsions, the way we are brought up, our culture, our pressures of performances, our expectations from family, from children. We put up a mask, we put up a personality, and the psychometric evaluation is impacted because the lie we tell us becomes our truth. But then the other profile brings out the real truth of you. So then there is a conflict. Which one are you hiring? Are you hiring the one that is the inner child, which is the real profile of the person? Or are you hiring the personality? Because you run the risk that the personality will change over time.
So, madam,
And
if
फिर
I'm
नहीं समझ
not
रहे.
wrong, it is more of like, see, we all are trainers, so we are having awareness about this psychometry test. So even I saw many times when we run the psychometry test, people manipulate themselves.
Yes,
It works
yes.
only well if it is spontaneous answer, and it never happens spontaneous.
It never happens. People think, rethink, they go back. And then in your tool, if you have used an external tool, उस tool में बताएगा this person took too much time to answer this question. वो बता भी देता है आपको. Then you know that this person is lying. Then the results are inconsistent. Yes, Ganesh.
Even many people, few people I have found,
E-
means ground level, they are not able to understand the question asked by psychometry.
Yes, because it's
So
too
how can
confusing. Go agree, disagree, agree, disagree, agree,
uh,
disagree.
the
It
questions are very
becomes
tricky.
difficult. Yeah, yeah. So Rajlakshmi, to answer your question, do not 100% depend on it. Make it 1 out of 3. So one should be psychometric to have the profile of the person. Number two should be an in-person interaction. If it's a very senior role, you should have an in-person interaction. And number three, if it's a hands-on kind of a role, then make the person do an assessment. And when I say assessment, technical assessment. Yes, you can use it for leadership roles as one of the three, like I said. Make it a three kind of a thing. Make the person do a project or a presentation. Meet the person one-on-one at least for minimum 45 minutes, maximum 2 hours. And number three, do the psychometric profile because that's a reference for the future. And do not use it just as a tool. Use it through some kind of a vendor who will also give you the time analysis report so that you know in case the result is inconsistent, the person has cheated on the profile. That also talks about the integrity of the person and vulnerability for a leadership role. Does it make sense?
Yeah, madam, just wanted
You are
to make
welcome.
one
Yes,
point
Ganesh, go ahead.
clear. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I wrote this comment just because you might have heard like in market there are multiple instruments, I mean
Yes.
financial instruments introduced by various companies,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
there is a imposing some ban by the RBI or some competent authorities by checking the purpose of their businesses. So whenever the business purpose is not aligned with the purpose of that maybe the domain, then they ban it.
Yes. And which is a good thing, isn't it? It's a great thing according to me. Have you heard about GBP nowadays, Google Business Profiles? How many of you know what is a Google Business Profile? I don't know, Ganesh, if you're talking, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my point was only about whenever that instrument is designed, then you need to
Yes.
see the objective also. If the
Yes.
instrument is designed just to make the objective of squeezing money out of people, then that is not the right way of doing the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So
Outcome has
from
to be
that
very clear.
perspective,
What is your
exactly.
outcome?
Yeah. So from that perspective, I said like there should be some psychometric test for any
Yes.
module when you're
Yes.
implementing. So
Remember, if you're hiring a leader in an organization, that person is going to have a huge impact on how the organization moves forward, whether it fails or it succeeds. And we are talking about leadership roles, and people take this easily and take it. There is money invested, there are shareholders, there is thousands and thousands of employees' jobs on the line. So when you hire for a leadership role, just an interview cannot be enough. In fact, having an interview by one person is also not enough. You should have a panel, you should have an in-person interaction. We are trying to hire a CFO for one of the companies. We have done 7 rounds with this person. Now I'm going to meet him in Taj for a lovely lunch, and we are going to check his cultural fitment. He doesn't know that. Oh, obviously, he knows that. He's a senior enough person. But then there is a cultural fitment, there is an organizational fitment, there is a psychological fitment, there is a culture values assessment. There are 1 million things that we do, especially in a leadership role. And this person is going to be a CFO, right? Which means that the person is going to pretty much advise us on all financial things, good, bad, ugly. So we need them to understand the culture and see that they're able to work in a volatile, highly volatile, fast-moving organization. So yeah, to your point, thanks for Ganesh for pointing that out. We cannot just rely on one. We should be having 2, 3 kinds of evaluations, all angles. There's this example that I always quote, which is interesting according to me. Let's look at a house. Okay, how many sides does a house have? How many sides does a house have? Do you remember and when we were children, we would, yeah, exactly, 8. 8 sides. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 8 sides of a house. Now let us say you are standing on one side of a mountain and the house is on the top. How many sides do you see? Bolo? How many sides do you see?
I guess based on your the picture, what you said, children draw 4.
4. But if you're standing on one side of a mountain and the house is on the top, how many sides of the house are you able to see? 2 sides, right? Like this,
2.
2 sides, right? This side and this side. You can't see all the sides.
Yeah.
So let us say Ganesh is standing on the other side of the mountain. He can see the other 2 sides. So now Bharat and Ganesh can see two sides of the house, but one side is common. Both of them can see, but they can see one of the side. The side that Ganesh can see, Bharat cannot see. Correct?
True.
Now let us say Shivli is standing at the back. She gets to see the back side of the house and two other sides, which already Bharat and Ganesh can see. But is there new information from every side? Yes or no?
Yes.
Surely.
Now you get together at the end of the day and you say, I saw this house. There's beautiful white walls on one side and pink on other. Now Shivli is saying, no, it was yellow. And Ganesh is saying, what nonsense? I saw green. The idea is that it's about perspective. All the information, 360-degree information is required. This is just a house we are talking about. It's human beings. We have thousands and thousands of personalities hiding beneath each other, hiding inside each other, inside, there's a child sitting there. And the child is its own perspective, which keeps standing up at times when you're sad. And then it acts irrationally. And then suddenly it hides and goes away. Those of you who've done psychology will know that. It's called the inner child trauma. It decides how you behave in a traumatic situation, in a panic situation, in anxiety, etc., etc. So there are perspectives to every human being. So when hiring, especially in a leadership position, you cannot trust on one perspective. You are supposed to have multiple perspectives to be able to get clarity when you want to hire people. All right. So we have talked at length on the case studies. I made my point very clear as to how you are going to answer your case studies and also have mental clarity and not get confused by models, guys. Please don't get confused by models. The best way to prepare for this exam is हर एक मॉड्यूल लो, अपना presentation देखो, अपना material देखो और एक पेज का नोट बनाओ. So ideally there are 6 modules in this subject. You should have just 6 pages. That's it. 6 pages और 6 मोबाइल डायग्राम्स. आजकल भाई तुम लोग मोबाइल में पढ़ते हो और आईपैड नाम की चीज में पढ़ते हो. हम तो कागज में पढ़ते थे, तो हम एक एक पेज का नोट बनाते थे. उसमें इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें लिख लो. एनीथिंग दैट इज एक्सीडिंग 1 पेज इज एक्सेस. योर पेजेस शुड बी जस्ट 6 पेजेस ऑफ नोट्स and your chapters may say read the features, these the examples, etc., so that when somebody tells you connect this to the model, it is like a matter of, it's super easy. That's how you should prepare. That's my suggested way of study. We are at 141. Our next session was supposed to be at, we are here, there is a 12 o'clock and then we said there would be a 2 o'clock. Is that correct? Gurvinder ji?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, so 15 minute का break दे देते बच्चों को. Let them freshen up, have some water, and then you come back and then we'll wrap up the remaining portion of module 6 and